This is a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.
And now, BBC One presents an address from London Mayor Boris Johnson.
Hello, current fans of American football and former subjects of the Crown. I am Boris Johnson, Mayor of London, here with an official appeal to some of the owners of the National Football League. We desperately want a team over here in jolly old England. Dan Snyder, you're a man of means, and with your attachment to all things ethnic regarding your team, we have Indian takeaway practically on every corner. Or perhaps Jerry Jones, we can entice you with our healthcare system. You can go see a physician at your leisure and have your face stretched back like a drumstick as often as you like. And with hardly a quid out of pocket, there's plenty left over for the birds, if you know what I mean. Well, at any point, we now return you to our regularly scheduled programming on BBC One. The box score commences straight away. Pip, pip.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score. Hello and welcome to the box score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles. They are the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. Don't send England the Jags. Paulie, do you motivate the other Danettes to be mean just like you?
It's more like osmosis. I've never told anyone in this room to be mean. I think when you're near something that's really mean-spirited for a long time, it just rubs off on you naturally, and you're welcome.
Well, it was revealed today that you may have a new protege, and it's a quick learner. It's McLovin.
What do you do against like
A bunch of Vikings with like
but real Vikings
axes, yeah, like real,
big
beards. And
What do you do against the Browns? Fritzy?
Just to be clear, this is not based on looks.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
Because then I'd have to throw Mike Glennon in there.
I hurt my back eating apple pie.
What?
I went to take a bite of apple pie and everything's seized up.
An apple pie injury.
Yeah.
Were you eating it or were you reenacting American Pie?
Wow.
Dawn is the director of this, so she tells these guys what to do all the time, yells at these guys. We don't hear from her.
You guys don't hear from Dawn? She sends me nice notes like every hour. You're doing great, McLovin. Keep it up, McLovin. I don't see anything mean about any of those.
See, now you know you're there.
Right.
When you don't even know you're being mean, it's just standard operating procedure. You're really into something. By the way, in all honesty, off the air, Andrew's probably the meanest guy. The things he'll say sometimes, I'll even go, whoa, dude. Like, and if you could make me go, whoa, dude, that's pretty strong. That being said, he doesn't use those things on air very often. So he appears to be a nice guy, which is a really nice move.
Somebody once told me, the quote is somewhere along the lines of, in 5 years from now, you'll be the people you're surrounding yourself with today. And there's no question that when I started this show, I was a much nicer person than I am today. Today, I'm really kind of an a-hole. And I credit Paul for 90% of that.
Welcome.
Yeah, don't forget Dan, too.
I think, well, yeah, Dan is certainly the... I kind of look at it as like, Dan is the catalyst and almost opened the door for Paul, embraced Paul first and was just like, great, let's just do it this way. And let's see how it works out. I think, too, that I've also adopted a little bit of a sink or swim mentality here. You could either be super mean and make fun of everybody, or be the guy having everybody make fun of you. So I'm like, all right, sink or swim, let's just dive in, be as mean as I can be. And so far, it's really worked out.
Yeah, that is very accurate. I have seen, subtle and not so subtle changes in the rest of the group. I, on occasion, may say something slightly off color, but the meanness from when we first started to now has definitely taken significant heights, and it seems to be not only accepted, but embraced and encouraged to get as much snark going as possible.
Keep up.
Actually, my very first day, it's funny, I had forgotten all about this. My very first day working here, actually not here, but it was at the Attic. Normally at ESPN, I used to show up at 9 o'clock, and that was like a standard working day. It was kind of like 9 to 5-ish, actually. It's pretty nice. So my very first day showing up to work at Dan's Attic, I get there at 9, and Paul and Dan are there, and they're like, whoa, look who just strolled in, coming in whenever you feel like it, huh? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And Dan's like, work starts at 7, okay? oh, well, no one told me that work starts at 7. They said, yeah, just come in like normal. So I came in at 9, and I was like, okay, so now I see how things are working out here now. I better be on the ball here.
I remember that
because
day
I'm being set up quite a bit.
I remember that day pretty well, and we were just like, hey, breeze on in, just go back and forth as you like. And instead of saying, hey, dude, great that you came on with us, we're gonna kick butt and.
Or hey, how about be here tomorrow at 7?
Right.
That would have been helpful.
But it is weird though that you guys hit on something. Dan is much meaner on air to us than he is off air.
Sure.
Like Dan can walk in and be pretty breezy, super nice, polite. Like if you ever go to a Dan Patrick Cope family event, Dan's the nicest guy in the room. But the mics go on, and then so which is the real Dan? The sort of
Still trying to figure that out.
It's the same degree with Paulie a little bit. Paulie's pretty nice off camera. So which is
don't let that out there.
Yeah,
not that nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, but like I think it's interesting when the red light goes on the camera, the mean comes out. You'd think that people be like me and fake being nice, but they fake being mean, I think.
Yeah, that's one thing like McLovin said, I'm nice off camera. I might be nicer off camera. That being said, it's not that much. So you know that, like, people are like, oh man, that character you play on the show where you goof on everybody, that's not a character, Holmes. And by the way, you look like, and I'll make fun of the person who just said that.
Well, there was a definite snarky vibe in the man cave today, and in order to push off the holidays, you guys received some ornaments, I guess they were, to go up on the tree. Dan received them from Gary in Lakewood, California, beautiful Lakewood. Have you guys received the amputated thumb, the can of dog food, and a nearly nude Fritzy there, McLovin bench pressing. Seton, are these, where do these rank amongst the ornaments you guys have received?
Well, they're certainly top 10. There's no doubt about that. Creativity, the thumb in the can of dog food is right at the top. If that's not number 1, it's like 1 A, B, or C. So, yeah, people are really creative, though, and it's pretty great seeing what everybody sends in. And, fun.
Yeah, I think they were great. They're well thought out. It's someone that obviously knows the show and knows certain moments of the show, and it looked like really well put together art projects and capturing. You couldn't really see from that camera shot unless you really zoom in, but really great details. I know in mine there's like a little mini TV screen that has Chrissy Teigen and I spooning on the couch, and what McLovin's holding here in the box. It's just really well thought out and well done.
Well, it was a nice gesture by Gary in Lakewood, but it had a level of meanness to it, which you guys seem to enjoy. Fritzy, you tried to pay Seton a compliment today, and that went bad.
Did you see the creativity of Seton O'Connor there just now? With Say It Isn't So...
I'm supposed to call him.
I'm sorry. I was all excited playing Hall & Oates, Say It Isn't
Fritzy,
So.
Hey, Todd.
I thought it was very creative of one Seton O'Connor to work in Hall & Oates, Say It Isn't So. I just wanted to say something nice.
Okay.
It wasn't supposed to be clever or funny.
You could have said that to him privately.
I could have.
Fritzy, right now you could be saying, hey, Seton, that was pretty cool, Hall & Oates.
But I saw that you got a little emotional and saying thank you to our friends in L.A. and Dawn, and that moved me to have a public sentiment towards what Seton did. So I felt
it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Hey, Fritzy, come over here. I figure since he hijacked that last segment, he might as well hijack.
Yeah, go ahead. Go in the box, Fritzy.
Go in the box. You know what? It's your show, Todd.
A lot of issues with this one. One of the things he did, his first mistake was being the first voice back from commercial. Dan is the first voice back from commercial. So that's kind of a tough one there.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, in radio, you can't be first voice back from commercial over the host. Unless, it would have to be a pretty extreme situation where the host wasn't in his chair. Secondly, he said, do you see what Seton did? It's an audio bit that he did there. So seeing, he's right for to be jabbed for that. Also, Fritzy's a notorious public complimenter. If there's a camera on, he may compliment Seton.
Which is the worst thing you can do here, is compliments.
No, never compliment someone, especially self-serving, which we all do. No.
So Fritzy could have gotten away with that if he'd been ripping Seton right there, even the faux pas of coming first on air.
Or he could have just given Seton I am. He was nice with that thing.
What he should have actually done is tell Dan, hey, like off air on like intercom, hey, did you see what Seton did there playing? And then Dan could have been like, I see what you did there. Well, Hall & Oates, and then that would have gone over.
Other than that, he did nothing wrong.
But I know what Fritzy's thinking. Fritzy's thinking that the three of us would get away with that, but he would not. Basically. Often you think that.
Well, actually, Dan went a little next level mean too there.
He goes a little harsher with me.
Where he kept saying, Fritzy, I gotta call you. wait till I call you first. Wait till I call you first. And he kept sort of needling him on that. So he went next level meanness and threw in a little power trip there too, which is fun.
The holidays.
That's how we celebrate. Well, still to come, we break down some important investigations going on in the sports world. Welcome back to the Box Score. It's been revealed that the Cubs will be investigated for tampering in their hiring of new manager Joe Maddon. McLovin, do you believe that the commissioner's office is going to come down hard on this this organization?
No, absolutely not. I think that secretly MLB would be like, yeah, tamper, do something. We need you to be good. I don't think the Cubs being bad is good for baseball.
By the way, we talked about this a little bit. I think there's a clip where I pointed out a few things how you could pretty much assume something is tampering, because we have a lot of experience with tampering. We were corporate tampering when we got both Seton and Fritzy from ESPN. Now, I'm sure the statute of limitations have expired, but I'm very familiar with tampering and then denying it.
I love this, Paulie. Were you actually the tamperer in this case?
Yeah, maybe. I would say I was in it as much as anybody. Yeah, for sure.
There were some glances exchanged behind cubicle doors and walls.
Well, it's funny, you know, in the box today, I actually said that there was huge amounts of tampering, and then I got nervous and was just like, oh, wait, no, actually, I made that all up. Because I like, sort of embellished on everything, because I was like, oh, what if I got Dan in trouble all of a sudden all these years later? How that could possibly happen, I don't know. But I'm like, what if there's, like, some kind of agreement or something? I better back out.
Well, I love to see.
I did not.
See, and you said, it's like, who leaves a job unless they have another one lined up? I know you were talking about yourself probably leaving
Oh, well,
ESPN.
it's common sense. Nobody, yeah, that was the dumbest thing. I had to leave ESPN. I put in my 2 weeks, and they're like, so where are you going?
Just
like,
gonna wander aimlessly.
Like, nah, I'm just gonna see what's out there. I wasn't allowed to say where I was going, and they were like, dude, we all know where you're going. Just say it. And I'm like, nah, I don't. What? Does Dan have a show? I hadn't heard. I didn't know
Walk
that.
the
Wow, good luck.
streets with a bag of chips.
Rarely do people leave a good job to.
Meanwhile, I'm sneaking CDs of all of our material out of there. Like, I had to pull, like, Soccer Breakdown. I had to pull all of these interviews, Tanya Harding, all of this stuff. I've got bags full of CDs that I spend all my time burning for the last 2 weeks.
I think I still have emails between us from back in
hey, make sure you get this.
07.
Corporate tampering. Well, we'll get back to the Cubs tampering. We'll see if they do end up getting punished. And McLovin kept the snark going by offering this possible scenario.
Do you think it's possible that the Cubs finally win a World Series and they catch them on this and they vacate said World Series? 108 years, and then now some more years.
Somebody picked Paulie up off the floor.
Do you realize that, Paulie, would you take that? That the Cubs would win the World Series, but they would have to vacate because they tampered to get Joe Maddon? Would you take that?
Yeah, well, I would die the minute they won the Game 7 at Wrigley, so I wouldn't even be there. Should MLB allow the Cubs to tamper? Almost like it's a make-good for the last century.
Yeah, once McLovin said this thing, World Series and Cubs in the same sentence, I kind of like got lightheaded, so I may have missed the rest of it. But I think it is funny that I actually like the Cubs more now. The fact that they're about to be accused of tampering means, all right, we're getting there. We're starting to be competitive. We're starting to cheat a little bit, overspend a little bit, tear down tradition, and build a whole new fresh ballpark. I smell a World Series in the near future.
Yeah, it must be stinking. Another sports figure under investigation is former Heisman Trophy winner Jameis Winston. And Dan asked Pat Forty to break down all the investigations that QB is under.
I think the autograph thing is probably dead in the water. There's certainly the student code of conduct. There's been some smoke about this point shaving allegation. I have looked into that a lot, as much as anybody has. The NCAA sent an email to a person of interest. I have the email. The UAB Compliance Department sent an email to a person of interest. I have that email. I think that's just doing your due diligence. I don't think there's any proof that there was anything nefarious going on in the Florida State-Louisville game. And, you know, I'm not a huge Jameis Winston fan for the way he's conducted himself, but this could be incredibly unfair if he's being maligned in this way.
This is such a bizarre situation. It is like this giant possible story looming out there that is nothing but a possible story. Right. So we can't really cover it. We can't really do anything with it. And you know, it's like it's funny, and I'll admit, like, part of you wants there to be something there because it would be it'd be a great topic. But that being said, I mean, I hope he didn't do it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us hope he didn't do it. I think as producers, we all hope It's an absolutely true story because that's freaking nuts, man.
I know.
If the defending Heisman Trophy winner of the number 2 team in the nation got even lightly accused of point shaving, it would be gigantic. It would make the Manti Te'o story seem silly, and that much of a freak show that story was. So, I mean, as a producer, I couldn't care less about Jameis Winston's well-being and his decision-making and things like that. All I'm thinking is, like, if this story becomes true to some level, it's gonna be like a T-ball over here.
Well, we will peel back the layers on the box score if that ever happens. Stick around. We have a Veterans Day quiz. You don't want to miss this. We are back here on the box score. It is Veterans Day, so we're going to give the Danettes a little history quiz and see if they can name some of the sports icons that had an impact overseas and on the field of play. It's a little something we call, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." In the spirit of teamwork, it is row versus row, and there are no steals. We are men. Let's have some semblance of honor, shall we? First up, the front row. This Hall of Fame pitcher threw 2 no-hitters and served his country during World War II, fighting in the Battle of the Bulge. Who is he?
Yes. I think you're right. Go for it.
Feller?
Feller?
The correct answer is Warren Spahn.
Oh! Ooh. Warren Z. Spahn.
Back row, your turn. He's a MLB Hall of Famer known for his big bat and acrobatic catches, including the famous over-the-shoulder basket catch. But he also fought for our country in the Korean War. Who is he?
He showed up.
Willie Mays. Oh.
I don't know. That seems so obvious. Yeah,
Willie Mays is the only name that comes to mind for the over-the-shoulder.
I feel
catch.
guilty. That's a lot easier than Warren Spahn.
Well, yeah, that was a difficult one. Willie Mays is correct,
That's business
gentlemen.
as usual. Back row gets easier questions.
Nice.
Business as usual.
Right.
Well, there is
Squeaky
dissension
wheel gets the
amongst the
oil,
troops. Front row, you're up. He made
Does he see a
history
fist up there?
breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball, but
I was looking
after
at the
he
screen.
served in the Army, after being drafted in 1942.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Oh, boy, I'm going to say that Ricky Henry. No.
Jackie Robinson?
Oh, come on.
Absolutely correct, Jackie Robinson.
Oh.
Next up,
Okay, I
the
take
back
my
row.
comments back.
Thank
These are
you.
Questions. Let's.
The Red Sox legend is widely regarded as the greatest hitter of all time. He also fought in World War II as a Marine Corps pilot. Who is he?
Manny Ramirez. Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
This is
Whoa,
too
no
easy.
steals, Paul. No steals.
Did the graphics guys write this quiz? This is too simple.
Very disappointed.
Yeah.
Who is it, Fritzy?
That would be Ted Williams.
Carly's terms.
You are correct. It is both of those guys. It is Ted Williams, of course. Front row, back to you. This Yankee legend appeared in 21 World Series as a player and a manager, but that was after serving in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Can you tell us who he is?
I'll let you take this one.
Is it? Yogi Berra?
Absolutely correct. Yogi Berra.
Who knew?
Last one for the back row. He's a Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame QB and Heisman Trophy winner. But before playing in the NFL, he volunteered for a tour in the Vietnam War. Do you know who he is?
Not bad. We're going to go Roger the Dodger Staubach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Not the draft Dodger, just the Dodger.
Just the Dodger. You're
Very
absolutely
good
correct. Roger
Good
Staubach.
job clarifying that.
Hey, Brock, before we wrap up, we have a little something over here to a little tribute to our troops.
Certainly.
C and I came up with this. We were up all night. Fritzy does a list of athlete names that bore us to death about 10 times a year at every holiday. And he chose to ignore Veterans Day.
Bad American.
So we're going to go over Nate Solder.
Bad American.
Close to Soldier.
Tommy Gunn.
Tommy Gunn. Ben Troop, tight end out of Florida.
Tank Johnson.
Oh, Tank Johnson. And Man of War. Man of War.
How about that?
Back
a
to
little
you.
something for the
John Force.
add
Throw
to
one
your
in.
enjoyment today.
And Gunnar Keel.
All right. Well, good job, gentlemen, and nice tribute there. Well, the only winners today are us, the American people, who are grateful to the men and women of the U.S. military for all they do and have done to protect freedom both here and all over the globe. So on behalf of the Danettes and all of us here at the Boxer, we thank you for your service.
I'm looking at a list of best comedies. How about Borat? The movie
You mean Borat?
Borat. Did I say Borat?
Borat.
Borat. Giant rat running around Manhattan.
What's that rat's name? It's Bo. That's Bo Rat.
Bo Rat. We are back here in the boxer. You guys had an inspired debate about movies, the top comedies of the last 5 years. Let's go around the room and maybe Seton, you can give us your top 2.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm of the opinion that I don't think there's actually... Well, okay, aside from That's My Boy, okay? I don't think there's really been a good comedy released in the last 5 years, okay? And I think that That's My Boy, while it didn't do commercially what we all thought it should, in like 10 years, people are going to be like, whoa, that movie was hysterical, and we completely missed it the first time around. I know I'm biased, but I really think that looking back, it's going to become a cult classic.
So there's no movies that you haven't been in that you like over the past 5 years?
Accurate. That's right. That's right.
You know, I'm going to go with, I looked it up, 2009 was The Hangover, so that fits in. Hangover 1 is a classic.
That was a good movie.
And since it's in the time frame, I don't put it quite up there in the same stratosphere, but I got to go Bridesmaids, which just the scene where they're trying on wedding dresses and things go awry. Little potty humor.
Not enough rom-com for you in that movie, though. You probably thought it was like more of a Jennifer, what is his name? Kate Hudson movie.
Hello, Kristen Wiig falling for the hunky Irish cop. If you don't get rom-commier than that, dude.
Rom-commier.
I'm going to go with I Love You, Man, and I'm also going to go with, what's that other one? I Love You, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Jason Segel, I love that guy. I think he's really funny. Love his delivery. And Paul Rudd, same thing. I know there are probably better movies out there, but I love the sneaky humor and subtle humor.
We all know what this is about, Paulie.
Paul Rudd and Jason Segel?
Oh, and what's the band that is featured prominently in I Love You, Man?
Yeah, that helped, believe me. If Air Supply was the main song in I Love You, Man, but they were paying tribute to the holy triumvirate that is Rush.
I also had Forgetting Sarah Marshall, less for the comedy, more for the Bell-Kunis combination. And despite what Dan says, I think This Is 40 was fantastic, and I was cracking up for most of that movie. So This Is 40, if you haven't seen, I can't imagine anyone seeing that and not finding that.
Remember how old everybody seemed in 30-something?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're 36 and you're like, wow, maybe those people really weren't that old, or did they just act that old? I feel like This Is 40 is like the same thing. Like, is that really 40?
I remember watching 30-something
so.
when I was a kid. And they all wore like V-neck sweaters and nice crisp shirts and real nice pants. And I dressed like I'm 11.
Yeah. Right.
See, you look a little like Timothy Busfield in 30-something. My favorite 2 movies, I'm going to have to say...
That's the worst. That's the meanest thing you've ever said.
Oh, come on. Comedies, I had to search all over. I think 21 and 22 Jump Street. Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum. It was magical. It was magical. That's all I can say.
Doesn't that say a lot about the last 5 years in comedy?
It absolutely does. Well, see, you said you hadn't seen Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, but you lived it. How about the rest of you guys? What movies have you seen that sort of relate to your life? McLovin, let's start with you.
Oh, definitely old school. I'm, I honestly, every Saturday, I'm like, well, what do we do today, honey? You know, Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond, whatever there's time for. I'm basically Will Ferrell in old school while he's still with his wife.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I went to see Ferris Bueller's Day Off when I was, I don't know what year that came out, maybe I was 15 years old, 16 years old. I went and saw it with a bunch of my friends in high school. We got out and we're like, I love that movie, love that movie. My buddy goes, yeah, because that's you, man. Working your way in and out of situations like that, even at 15. I remember he said that to me as we walked out.
You're comparing yourself to Ferris Bueller right now? That's
no, I mean, I could never have, that's like but that's a compilation.
That's a pretty gutsy comparison. I like it.
It's like, Indiana Jones.
That's
actually.
like, I grew up.
That most closely represents
everyone's
who
like,
I am.
you're the Fonz, man. You're the Fonz.
Yeah.
You can't, yeah.
Initially, I couldn't think of one. I had Everybody Loves Raymond and the Goldbergs for TV, but if we had to go movie, I'd probably go Private Lessons for 2 reasons. One, even though I was a few years older than the kid depicted in the movie, one was just some interesting experiences with an older woman in Brooklyn, and 2, the fact that our drug-induced camp counselors snuck us into what was supposed to be the Apple Dumpling Gang with Tim Conway and Don Knotts, ended up taking us in to see Private Lessons, and I don't think we were older than 10 at the time, so good job by the pot-smoking camp counselors.
Yeah. Too bad you can't pick up the therapy.
Mine, I'm going to have to say Napoleon Dynamite. I just really related to the sadness of his life and working with bow staffs and drawing ligers. That was it. So, well, Fritzy, your life is more uplifting. Who is on tomorrow?
Gary Danielson, CBS lead college football analyst, will be joining us tomorrow. We're still working on some other
quarterback,
stuff.
former Detroit
Paul is
Lion,
helping me fill time
father
because
of
that's the only
9.
guest. And
Sagittarius.
Gary
Yes.
W. Danielson, the
Meat
third,
eater.
will join us in the second hour off the college football
His
selection
last name,
committee
Daniel
rankings.
Son, translates to son of Daniel.
There you go, Daniel Son. I like
But
it.
it's backwards.
Very good. Thanks for watching The Boxer. Set your DVR or tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on Audience Channel 239, or catch our podcast available on iTunes or at podcast1.com or at Armed Forces Radio. Sure. To the vets.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer. My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!
This was a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.